Hello, welcome back. Tonight I will speak about Galactica. Galactica is a collection of 11 different grimoires that I have written. They are my latest books, my latest grimoires that I have decided to put under collection. So there are different books, different manuscripts, different thematics as well, but all of them are grimoires and all are inspired by the book of King Solomon, Ars Goetia. And the thematic of tonight is Lilith. So while I did speak about the first 4 different grimoires that I have written, and the 5th I will speak about Lilith. Lilith is a very interesting character. What I can say about the correlation to Galactica is that she is the only female character in the collection, the volume 1. So all the others are male characters, no? And I think it does make a difference. I think it's something very beautiful to have Lilith in this collection of grimoires. We say, well, the Lilith, the book that I have written for her, is a grimoire as well. And even if Lilith is not a part of the Ars Goetia, I think that she should be, no? Or I could even say that Lilith is a higher and more important than all of the others as well. So Lilith does carry with her a lot of interesting points as well. I have a very beautiful playlist where I speak about Lilith, about the Grimoire of Lilith as well. If you want to check it out, I do recommend it. If one is interested in the thematic of Lilith and wants to learn or have new insights or just learn or know a little bit more about the grimoire or the book of Lilith. And my book is not manual. It is not all my books are either novels or poetry or grimoires, something very, more elevated, because I write literary works. It is not manuals, it is nothing like that. Even if I did write a book that seems a little bit more like a manual with more practical things, but all my other books are epic stories or novels, different type of novels, poetry I have written, and at the moment I'm focusing very much on the thematic of grimoires. The thematic of Lilith offers very rich insights. That what can I say? That's why I recommend Lilith to anyone, man or woman, does not matter. The thematic of Lilith is very, very beautiful. I think it will be something that one can even teach children as well. So, well, if the parents educate themselves, they have the ability to educate their children as well. That's why I believe truly that books are very important. And I think a lot of people love books, so it is something almost, we say humans have learned to write much more later in their development, and somehow books came much more later, no? But I don't think that's the case. I think humans have always had a very complex form of communication, and they have always kept records. I would say, well, maybe of them are not found because they're very old or things happen, in the history. But I do believe humans always have written, always have had the gift from God to be able to think as modern humans do. But you say, well, the ability of the mind as well, no? Of course, you say, well, the ability of the mind always develops, no? But do not say that the child is not developed. It's a child comes to the world very highly developed, no? So it is not about development. I think it's about the enjoyment of knowledge, the enjoyment of, even if we were to speak about the seriousness of knowledge, it is not pleasant. That knowledge should be always about, individual choice, and it has to be an individual choice. Only then you can educate yourself. You have to decide for yourself. So education starts with you, with each one deciding, how many books do I want to read in this lifetime, or how many books I am, spending time on the thematic of learning. or enjoying. The books have different purposes as well. It's not always about learning. That's what I want to say. And the enjoyment of a book, it is a very interesting thematic for me as a writer, because I always think of those aspects as well. The aspects that come from that different point of view, and so what a reader would like to read, or what a reader would like to speak about, or what the thematics are. At the same time, as a writer, you cannot let yourself be influenced by others' opinion. You have to be very mature to always listen to your own intuition, on your own deciding. And books have very different qualities, but speaking about the Grimoire of Lilith specifically, I think it's a very beautiful book. I think Lilith is a very beautiful, very interesting character that one can somehow learn from. There is this aspect to say, Lilith does have some very beautiful qualities as well. And in the playlist about her, I speak about the different ways that Lilith appears in nature, how we are able to identify her, or when we see her in paintings or other places, that she has somehow appeared consciously or unconsciously, maybe even in a dream. So while maybe a poet or maybe a painter had dreamed about Lilith, and that inspired the painting or something. There's very much that part of the magical aspect of Lilith. And what is great about being a writer is that sometimes you choose a character, or the character comes to you. It's almost like which came first. It's like, did I have the idea, or maybe I had a dream that came from somewhere that made me, what is the decision factor of a writer deciding to say, I want to write this book specifically on this thematic. It has to have a reason. There is a certain will and power, It's like, what is the motive behind why exactly this? Why want it? Why you want to write it? So for me, always the thematic has to be very interesting. It has to, I'm a person who gets bored easily, and I do enjoy very much, like in my stories, in my books, that it is not a boring story. That would be my worst nightmare. Someone would say, there is no meaning, it's everything so boring, everything is so plain. So that I will not like, of course. So I always try in my books to create, parts that really inspire us, or parts that really inspires in one way or another. Sometimes I see my books as a painting. Some things are not explained. I cannot explain all the process of writing a book from A to Z. It is not possible, and it's not even natural, because in every book is a different process one way or another. The same like in a painting, it's you have the vision, you imagine what you want, but you don't know the result. That's very much like when you write a book. So there is always the element of surprise, factor for the writer as well. And so my reaction after writing a book tells me a lot about how good my book is for me. And the Book of Lilith was real, almost to say, something that I really wanted to write. So it didn't seem like it was something that I wanted to do. I didn't feel it like a task. At the same time, I took it as a task in a very serious way, to write a very precise book, or something that does represent Lilith, And I didn't go so much as well. I knew a few things about Lilith, but I didn't go and study it necessarily. I put my energy more into the writing, in the story of the book, the way I imagine it, the way I wanted to say it. So I say, sometimes I think of a character, I don't know nothing, and then I have to study about him first and foremost, and then I can write. And sometimes I know a little bit, but still I feel like I'm confident enough to write it without necessarily I felt like if I was to read a lot about her, it will I would misjudge, or I would be influenced too much, So it's always a conscious decision on my side, even sometimes because a lot of decisions, I play like it's very easy, but that's just for me to move faster through the manuscript, move faster through the book as well, because I'm interested in the end result. I'm interested the book is ready, that the book is good, so I'm very much focused on the goal, And the process of writing the book of Lilith, I think it took me, the writing process took me a few weeks, and writing the book maybe a few months, like 2 months. But that time felt very short. I felt like I wrote the book very fast, and from the inspiration point of view, I just felt like I just had it, like it was just a thematic that I was made for it. Like I didn't doubt it at all. In this case of the book of Lilith, it felt very natural, and I enjoyed the aspect of writing the book, and the element of the task, that I took it very seriously. And then, of course, the beautiful result. Then I created the beautiful cover for the Grimoire of Lilith, which is somehow, in my imagination represents her, even if to say, well, Lilith, her hair is copper. Her hair is red. But in my book, she appears with this representation. It was a decision that I wanted. And, of course, the element of the crown, to say, well, Lilith does not only wear a simple crown, to say she is even more higher than to say, well, a queen or whatever. It is not the aspect, the crown is not the aspect of, I say, our own idea what a crown means. To say, sometimes symbols are anti-symbols. So, well, if one works with symbols, so, well, this means this and so on, one can read through the symbols. But in some cases, a symbol is anti-symbol because the meaning is actually wrong, This too speaks about Lilith. So, well, the representation or perception of Lilith has been different and has changed, but does that not say necessarily that who Lilith is. We say, well, it is our own imagination, interpretation of Lilith. So, the different aspects of Lilith, well, there are differences, and throughout the histories appeared, But they're always like a part here, a part here, a part here, a part here, maybe in 4 different places, like very consecutive, very importantly. But then there was a lot of time where there was nothing about Lilith, And that is the aspect of Lilith as well. So, well, who is Lilith? Was she ever here, There is the aspect of that absence, the aspect of Lilith that is absent in some way or another. Or it feels absent. There is some type of absence when one, tries to connect with Lilith, because it's like, it's very, so ancient, we don't really know. We don't really know. And it's normal. There are many things we don't know. It's not because we don't know, because we not have the ability to know, because we are not smart enough. It is simply very old, very ancient, it has been lost. How can one know for sure? So, well, if I know, I know, but if I don't know, I don't know. It's not like conquest who is smarter. So it even wants to say that Lilith speaks more to the soul than to the mind. It is an aspect of the feminine, of course. So, well, the feminine aspect is the most important aspect of Lilith, as I've said. The fact that she is the female, female character in a collection, where she's the only one. So it is a very important role, a very important, beautiful part of Lilith. There are very many other very beautiful aspects of Lilith that I do speak in my playlist about Lilith. And speaking about Galactica, now in correlation to this collection that Lilith is part of, I do think Lilith is a very modern book. I think it's very interesting as well. It's very beautiful. It does have aspects that represent Lilith very well, let's say, through my eyes, no? And there are aspects that I have seen too, of course, in the paintings or other representation of her. This is where I have read and seen Lilith long before I decided to write a grimoire on Lilith. And I think all her representations are very, very beautiful. So I think that the element of beauty is very much related to Lilith, the element of femininity or beauty. At the same time, Lilith is the element of the intellect. So say, well, we see her sometimes like floating in the air. No, she has the dominion over the element of the air. She can has power over the dominion. She can float in the air. That speaks too, no, about her connection, no, to something else. There's that aspect of something else, or something more, or something different. And there's the element of very much uniqueness when it comes to Lilith. Very much about the element of absence. As I've said, there is a lot of absence, or that melancholy, or it seems like that. We cannot really say in a painting how Lilith feels. It's very difficult to imagine. We can imagine, of course, but we don't really know, no? And so sometimes she appears with her eyes closed, sometimes she appears a little more distant, so it's a little difficult. There's always some type of almost like, let's say, aspect that is hidden. You say, well, sometimes we can hear her outside in nature, in a forest, or sometimes we can imagine seeing her, or we can connect to elements of Lilith as well. But, you know, it's almost like aspect that one has to interpret as well for himself or herself, to be able to connect to those elements. So it's almost like to say there is the element of the senses. There's this very beautiful 4 different paintings by a very famous Italian painter. They are very long, because they represent the bodies of 4 women, like the 4 seasons. Makes me think of Lilith. To say, well, it's not the same woman, or it's the same woman, because it is with her back, and we have the element of nakedness, and they are in this element of the nature. It's very much how Lilith is represented throughout history, but in a very romanticist type of way. It's very romanticized type of way, no? You know, so it's almost like a symbol that has been used in many different cultures in different ways. So then it gets a little blurry. It gets a little, what's like the purpose of it in a way, you know? So, well, the water of Lilith, it always carries something of the magical. It's almost like if you look in a river and you just look at a reflection, but suddenly you see something black, or like black water or ink or black stone. That's very much an element of Lilith as well. That's what I want to say, like how she likes to show herself in those aspects of nature in some way or another that catches the eye, is very unique and catches that attention. The element of the black represents too in her paintings. When we see her, if you see like a piece of wood that grows from the earth, but it's just a part, and it's very black and it's very scratchy and very, you know, there's a specific painting where Lilith is represented in this type of nature around her. There's very much Lilith, or the trees who have very strange type of trunks, and very intricate and very, like, you know, little messy, like birds are, you know, sometimes birds are messy. That's very much element of Lilith. The crow, the black crow, or any type of larger predator animal, especially if you hear sounds in the night, very loud and so on, it's very much element of Lilith. Or the element of the owl is presented by Lilith, the element of snake as well. These are all very, very old ancient symbols that were connected to Lilith, and it shows her abilities. Somehow I know it's true because it fits to the other things I'm saying and the other things that I know about Lilith. So you know, that someone to say, well, if I'm trying to make a puzzle, I already recognize that a lot of pieces are already fitting, no? So it's, I want to say, it is the correct way to interpret her. These are her symbols. But when I say that the symbol of the owl, where has to understand it, or try to understand it in a deeper way, one can meditate on these aspects as well. Then we have spoken about the element of the snow, the element of the cold, or the element of the dark clouds, or the element when the sky changes, so that it becomes a little like vibrant red, vibrant blue, petroleum, some type of violet color like that. It's very much Lilith. Of course, the connection to the light always. So, well, Lilith is Lilith. Her name means light. But to say the interplay of light, the changes of the light, that creation of the light, to say we know light is color. Light is not white. We say, well, the light without color is white, but the light includes all the colors. So we say, well, Lilith knows this. And say, well, the element of the intellect is the highest when we speak about Lilith. In the same time, in her representation, one makes us think that it's not so, because she looks so innocent. There's the element of Lilith is very always young. There will never is a representation of a Lilith old, because she represents that element of the young maiden, the young woman. So, well, Lilith is represented by the element of beauty. And there are very many very beautiful aspects of Lilith. That's why it's a very beautiful thematic, and I really love to work on the book of Lilith, and I love to speak about her and speak about the different symbols that she carries. And I think that it's almost to say how beautiful and how giving Lilith is without even her asking to be on the stage. So there's the element of someone doing something for you, but you never know. That's the beauty of Lilith as well. And I think it's our honor and our duty to learn more about her as well, to say, well, to say that Lilith is absent, maybe we were absent from that place as well. Not to say, well, the element of the absence or melancholy, or that open space where Lilith is by herself, in all representation, that's the way Lilith likes to be and is happy. So in all representation, she is happy. She looks very beautiful. She looks very much enjoying herself. So everything around her is everything what Lilith loves. So if we see her with the element of the snake, Lilith loves the snake. If we see the element of the tree, Lilith loves the tree. If we see the element of the river, Lilith loves the river, whatever. Another element which is very important is the element of the cave. That's I will say it, and I said in another recording, it is the number one symbol of Lilith, is the cave. And so, well, it is the aspect of the hidden, even that it came only now. It has a meaning as well, because, as I say, well, Lilith does not like to show everything from the beginning, that it is always the element of the cave, and it fits very much, very good to all the other symbols as well. So, well, of course, the owl is silent, or in a very silent environment. There is no sound around. And there's the element of the night, and then maybe there is a sound of a bird, but otherwise it's total silence. It is connected, of course, silence to the element of solitude, melancholy, to the element of the part when the day changes as well, which is magical. So when the sun appears, when it goes down, or the moon, it is magical, it is beautiful. That's very much element of Lilith. And those elements, when this changes, there's always maybe when even the rain has to come, as I said, a dark cloud, or something exceptional or unique. It has to have other elements as well too, to be, so I can describe it and say, well, it is element of Lilith. No, it's not to say, well, if it's a black cloud, it's Lilith. No, symbols have to be understood in a methodical way as well. So I say Lilith has many keys, and she uses them. That's what makes Lilith unique. I almost can represent her to say, if all my other grimoires, the knowledge of all of them is very high, Lilith is the one who takes action. To say, well, she is that power. She has very much that element of the first. She knows. It is a part to say, well, whatever Lilith has is given by her father, God, no? So we say, well, Lilith is that connection. That is the most true thing I can say about her. And mom would say the rest, it is more our interpretation, because we know very little, as I've said. So we say, well, yeah, history is facts. No, history is not facts. If history was facts, it will be very little part of history. History is all what has passed and has been, no? So it is very large. We cannot expect to know everything. And what will be the beauty of knowing everything? So say, well, the beauty is not in knowing, it is in experiencing. It is that part of Lilith as well. And it is very gentle. And so, well, Lilith always carries that element of purity, of gentleness, of, what to say, like, so well, we will not have the flower, even if it's beautiful, but it will pass fast. We will have the fruit, you know. That's the smartness of Lilith. Lilith is very much so. In some of the paintings where I see element of Lilith, maybe it's just a simple girl who walks barefoot, and it is Lilith, the element of Lilith. It does not has to be. It is not about the gold or, you know, because they say, oh, if this person is so important, let's make it all gold. And say, well, gold is cold, no? So, well, the joy of Lilith is, I've said, the beautiful, innocent, simple, pure things, and that element of Lilith always will be an element of Lilith. I say, well, but we have the owl. The owl is a predatory animal. It looks so dangerous, looks scary. I say, yes, the owl is the perfection of the bird. There is no bird more perfect than the owl. I say, well, if one knows and learns about owls and observes them or sees them, one can understand what beauty and what greatness the owl carries. So I say, well, I say it does not matter for Lilith, because Lilith loves animals, loves all animals. Lilith is a protector of all animals. Lilith loves nature, no? So, well, everything what God has created, Lilith loves in that way, no? To say there is this very beautiful and true aspect of Lilith that I really, really find so special in all say, well, in this collection of the Grimoires, and say, well, in general, not necessarily about my book, but about who Lilith is and who, the beautiful way that she has been represented in history, through art, through different genres, literature, poetic, music, whatever, no? It is aspect like that, as I've said, always sometimes appears unexpected or as a surprise as well. And it is unique. It does something that you cannot miss, because it always attracts your attention. And if you want to listen to the other recordings where I speak about the playlist of Lilith, when wants to know a little bit more about the book and my Grimoire of Lilith, you can check out the description box below. There is the playlist link to my playlist of Lilith, so as well as the link to the book of Lilith, the Grimoire of Lilith. And as I've said, for Galactica, I think it was a good decision to include Lilith in this collection, even if I've said she is not part of Ars Goetheum, but still I did have her Grimoire, and I find it that it fits actually very well to Galactica, and I'm happy that I have included her in this collection for us, and of course that I have written the book of Lilith. It is one of my favorite books, and if I was to top it from 1 to 11, I will probably give it, 7, something like that. Yes, thank you so much for listening. I will continue another time. Until then, all the best to you. Thank you. Bye.